Americans of Reddit, would you vote for an openly atheist presidential candidate? Why or why not? My man, this is Reddit. Asking Reddit if they'd vote for an atheist. I feel like the answer would be obvious. Not an American, but interestingly, according to this survey on 1006 people from 2007, being atheist was the worst thing you could be as a candidate, of the things asked, with only 45% of people saying they'd vote for one. I wouldn't not vote for someone just because they were atheist. Better an open atheist than a fake Christian. Sure, if I agreed with their policy. I don't care what a candidate's religion is unless they're inflicting it on others. I mean, I'm an atheist, so that's not exactly a deal breaker for me. Yes, for the same reasons I'd vote for a woman or someone not white, because I agree with their platform and believe they could competently perform the job. Their religion, or lack thereof, does not factor into my voting at all. For people who grew up with little money, what always felt like a luxury. After growing up in a home where every unexpected problem was a financial emergency, my idea of wealthy became I just want enough money that if something breaks I don't get anxiety about how to deal with it. End number X200B. Edit, thank you all. Getting new clothes at Christmas from relatives. I don't know if that is exactly a luxury or the kind of answer you are looking for, but we never had a lot of money when I was in middle school. I went an entire year wearing the same pants every day. The funny thing was my parents didn't even buy them for me. I got them for Christmas from my grandparents. All the kids used to give me so much shit for wearing the same pants every day. I always told them that I had 5 of the same pair, which made me feel good inside and kind of made them ease off, even though I know they didn't believe me. I remember I fell on the school bus one day and the jagged floor cut a hole right in the kneecap, and the panic that went over me was just insane. It was one of the worst feelings of my whole life because I knew that I didn't have any other pants to wear and that now all of the kids in my school were going to know that I only had one pair. Needless to say, I could not wait for the last month of school to end. End number X200B. Edit, just want to say thank you for all of the awards. I honestly didn't think that this comment would really mean much to anyone, but I can see that I was defiantly not alone in my situation growing up. I appreciate everyone sharing their support and stories. This did have a great impact on my life and it shaped who I am in a lot of ways. Thank you all again for sharing your stories and support. Summer camp, or basically any school trips that had to be paid for. At my school, the kids who couldn't afford to go on trips that happened during school hours still had to come to the school. We just sat in a room and did extra work like it was detention. Deleted. Going out for pizza was a big deal. Those free mini pizzas for reading books were huge. When my grandma would come pick me up and spoil me. My parents didn't have much money and were addicts, so when my grandma would come get me, I would come back with new clothes, video games, toys, etc. I used to think my grandma was rich, but she actually just had a stable income. Removed. I am from a small island in the Pacific. While I mostly still take cold showers, I have always felt that a hot shower is the finest luxury one can experience. I had my first hot shower when I was 22 years old and I can never forget it. Towels. Honestly, I was almost 10. When I realized people didn't just put back on their dirty clothes after a shower because my family was so large, 12 kids total including myself, and extremely poor. I thought towels were just for hotels or were maybe a prop on television. I went to a friend's house and she asked for my help folding her towels. I remember laughing and thinking she must be rich. Long story short, I wasn't sure which way to fold the towels, and begged my mom to buy them after I revealed that my friend, Simone, had them. She bought a box of used ones from a local auction and I walked around with them on my head feeling like a frigging empress after that, even though let's be clear, these were second-hand towels. Having the heating on. We used to go to bed in our sleeping bags in winter, which was really cool back then, pretty depressing now. Grew up poor, and when I was a kid I used to think you were rich if you had a dishwasher and a millionaire if you had one of those refrigerators that have a button for ice. McDonald's was also a luxury, a couple times a year on our birthdays. A meal out in a restaurant, not even a fancy one. Drinking clean, and enough, water and just having a decent meal, not just a piece of dry bread and tea. Yes, I come from Yemen, where we did not have a sufficient amount of water, for drinking or cleaning, and did not necessarily have 3 meals a day. I remember that we would not have random plants in our garden to water, that would be a waste of water. If you watch Dune, we kinda had, and still have, a similar situation. At the end of the season, sometimes the grocery store would have peck baskets of peaches on sale for a dime to clear them out before they went bad. And if Mom had a spare dime, she'd buy them and tell us to eat all we wanted. Normally fruit was limited to one a day if there was any at all. Man, we'd hit those peaches like a plague of locusts. Air conditioning. Whether in a house or vehicle. What's stopping you from having sex? Well, I don't want to blame everything on September 11th, but it certainly didn't help. Gestures widely at myself. Zero game. Distance. My wife moved 10 hours away for a job. We are moving back together this summer though, thank God. Distance suyux. A lack of a partner. My children. They've got cock blocking down to a science. Insecurity, lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence, being scared to approach women romantically. Wife died 3 years ago. Yet, difficult to think of being with someone else. Edit, thanks for all the kind comments and virtual hugs. The right person. Supply chain issues. Maidenless. Unfortunately, a side effect of a prostatectomy. Usually, it just means you can only have dry orgasms. But not me. Having to build emotional connection with some other person to actually enjoy the sex. I tried having sex with someone without having any emotional connection. ND, it was the worst sex I've had. There was a lot of awkward moments, but we got through it. Still sucked though. Being not attractive or confident. Not wanting to have it. Marital issues. Depression. Exhaustion.